I think the motion has to go first.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the additional library closings for 2021?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, Tara.
I had a quick discussion thought, and who knows what's going to happen with this, but because we're having these conversations, I know Governor Whitmer made Juneteenth a state holiday for Juneteenth, and I know that it's gone before. It's in discussion politically to have it as a national holiday. It has not been approved yet, but if it is, it's a consideration that we should consider.
So can I ask a question about that? And I would welcome all your feedback. We purposely stay open on Martin Luther King Day so that we can do programming. I mean, I don't mind closing. I'd rather be open and do something related to it.
So Juneteenth,
but I welcome thoughts.
Sure. So Juneteenth is a little different than Martin Luther King Day because it's more of like liberation, and this it's just like 4th of July, although Black people, unfortunately, were not free on 4th of July. So that's part of the reason why there is a Juneteenth.
Perfect.
So, I mean, it's open to discussion.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
It would be on par with that. So if you were to say the same thing about July 4th, like, oh, let's, have some education that day, but I think it's closed. Okay. So that's usually how people would look at it.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
So, do you want to make a friendly amendment, or so that just part of that discussion?
I think it would be good to actually acknowledge it. I mean, we're saying we're committed.
Yeah.
I think we should do it.
I think when we look at that day, it's actually the Saturday before Father's Day too, which we're off. I mean, it's a whole weekend. I mean, I think it's something we should do, and I think it's something we should consider going forward, but at least right now, 2021.
I think that was an excellent point, Trustee Michener. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'd be agreeing with that amendment if the rest of the board is good with that, to add that to the motion for consideration.
Can I offer up a suggestion of language?
Yes.
And that would be calendar 2021 would be your Saturday, July 3rd and your Sunday, December 26th. But moving forward for all calendars in the future, we would add June 19th as an official date of closure, since we know that it's a set date always now.
Okay.
So I will redo my motion.
Right, well, I have to do the motion.
Oh, you have to do the motion.
I have to do the motion. You just have to. No. How do we? No, I asked for a motion. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say you got me confused there.
All right, I'm confused. Listen. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the additional library closing dates and add June 19th on an annual basis?
I have that motion. Yes.
Thank you, Trustee Julie. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Wood. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Excellent.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, and then Julie, you wanted to discuss kind of what Juneteenth will look like and what that means, and what as a board, what we were thinking for planning purposes.
So the approval was for us to be closed on June 19th. I want to make sure that I understood that. There's been no information shared with the staff that we would have an in-service day. It was floated around, and it actually was brought up at the meeting when this first came up, because this came up so quickly and was decided on right at the meeting without it really being on, it wasn't on the agenda. So I was taken off guard and, by it in order to plan appropriately and to ask questions. I just need clarification from the board is if and when the approval of this June 19th, it is for the overhead.
Thank you for visiting the Novi Public Library.
Sorry, everyone. I can't think and hear that at the same time. I apologize. But I'm just looking for clarification. As I look at the calendar for the next 2 years, it'll fall on the weekend. It'll be closed on the weekend. There was some conversation of, well, if it was during the weekdays, would that be an opportunity to use it as an in-service day and do some work with the staff? But I'm open to however. I just needed clarification. Does the board want to keep it as a completely closed day? Always doesn't matter on the day of the week, because we do have some days where we're open and not, depending on the day of the week, and how it falls. We've made decisions like that on calendars. And so that's what I'm looking for, some clarification. There was no information that went to the staff that I've shared that it could be an actual, training day at this point. It's been thought about, and I wanted to make sure I just get clarification. Thank you.
Trustee Witt?
Just a clarification, yeah, I agree. It did come up quickly, with the vote and everything, but I do think it was the right thing to do. I don't think it really did take a whole lot of thought to prove that. But for example, July 4th, if it were to occur on a weekday, I'm just going to ask you, it would be considered a holiday for the employees also, right?
Yes, it's a national holiday, yes.
Yeah. I think we should follow and align with that it's not just a library closing, it's a holiday we're going to celebrate. That's my opinion here. Again, as I've said in past meetings, I think there's certain things we need to lead in. I was a little surprised with well, maybe I shouldn't make any comments, but me personally, I stand by the vote that we had. I thought it was a great proposal to do this, and I do think we celebrate it as a holiday.
Thank you. Trustee Dooley?
I also am support for the holiday. I think that, in light of everything that the community has learned, I support the idea of us taking Juneteenth off and having the staff taking it off. Leading up to Juneteenth, though, I just wanted to suggest that maybe that's when the programming should take place. So the actual Juneteenth day is celebrated just like July 4th, but up until that time, that would be where people are educated about why this holiday is important. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Trustee Michener? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm grateful for the past two speakers. I was surprised to see this actually on Matters for Board Action, because I think when it did come up, the same question got asked. There was a comparison made in June to MLK Day. And I clarified at that point that, it's really important to look at Juneteenth like you would look at 4th of July. And this is where we talk about equity. This is what equity is. This is empathy for our Black community members. They weren't free on July 4th, unfortunately. They should have been, but they weren't. And even some people 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation were still slaves. So Juneteenth is a celebration for a reason, and it's a celebration where people don't typically sit in the library, although we love libraries, that's why we're here. They barbecue, they go on trips, they drink a beer if that's what they do, right? Because this is very similar to 4th of July. Some people don't even celebrate 4th of July in addition, just to clarify. So I guess I was confused as to why it even came up, since we already approved it unanimously in June. It felt disheartening to see it here. I will say,
Not meant that way.
I'd like to finish. Please,
It was
can I
actually
finish?
me looking for clarification because I misunderstood. It was my misunderstanding. So I apologize for that.
I promise I won't filibuster. I just want to finish what I have to say.
I just wanted you to know that I apologize because it was my misunderstanding. So that there doesn't need to be approval. I'm getting clarification.
I just want to finish because I feel like I can't do that tonight for whatever reason. And I don't see that happening to other people. And it's just
My apology.
It's bothering me. It's not fair, actually. Okay. So, and I'm trying my best, guys, because I want to be fair. So where it says, if the date falls on a Saturday, Sunday, would the library be closed? If the date falls on a weekday, can it be used as a staff training day? I only bring that up because you mentioned, I don't know where staff training day came from, but this is a public notice and it went out and it says staff training day. Specific to DEI initiatives or remain closed, we don't have any. I mean, I'm hoping that some of the initiatives I put out get approved, but I don't know if they will. We don't have any DEI initiatives right now. There's none, and they keep getting shot down. So I guess what I would share is that I would really hate to bank this on some ambiguous thing that won't happen, that we just keep talking about and push to the next month until someone else feels differently. I want to be able to say that. You know, as a trustee, I think I do have a voice, and I want to be able to mention that. I think it's really important. And it's my goal to be respectful to everybody. I think you guys are all smart. I love being here, you know, but I do want to be able to be heard. And there's been a couple times tonight where I haven't been. So I do want to at least be able to finish my statement. It's so hard to get cut off every time you talk. So those are the things I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think then, unless anybody wants to not have it, thank you, Julie, for bringing that, just for clarification for you. But I think we'll leave it as we initially voted, and then that will be a day off for everybody.
Thank you.
For the library.
Great. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Okay, perfect. Next item is the approval of agenda. And first we're going to do things just a little bit differently, because I've kind of been doing some Robert rules and looking at the things. So what we're supposed to be doing is request a motion to approve. Then we get a second, and then we have discussion about it. So, and then we do a vote. Trustee Michener?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to actually make a motion. I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action: the approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday that the library calendar has.
Okay, so you would like that added to the agenda under matters for board action?
Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Wood?
I just want to point out one thing when you're talking about Robert's rules, just one thing to add there. After the second, the first person that is allowed to speak is the person that made the motion.
Yes,
So
sir.
I wanted to add that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. So the first thing I will say, clarify if I'm doing this correctly or not, please, Anne. So do I do the motion to approve the agenda with the added matters for board action, or do I do approve the motion for the agenda as listed? What is the proper way?
What I would do was, Trustee Michener made a motion to add the library closings to the agenda. Was there a second?
No. Not
So
yet.
what we would do is vote on that motion.
Okay.
And then and then we approve the agenda as presented or as amended. Unless somebody, that's.
Okay, so Trustee Michener made a motion to add that or to approve it.
She made my understanding was the motion was to add the library closing as a action item.
Yeah, I can read the motion again. It's very specific. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, if that's okay.
Yes, please do, so we'll have
Thank
clarity.
you so much. I appreciate it. So what I asked was, I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action: approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021, which can be found on page 91, to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar.
Now I ask for a second.
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 Okay.
What?
No, I'm asking you, Anne.
Okay, I just want to be clear, because right now, the library closings is under supplemental information. I read that as that it's just information to the board that there was no action on it.
No, are you asking me?
Yeah,
I guess I'm asking whoever put the agenda together.
It's just informational at the back of the packet. It's always in the packet for the board and for staff to know that there are the library closings that were approved back on 6/2020.
Sorry.
That's page 91. And this was brought to the board back in June of 2020.
It's already been, it's already
that's
been
already-
approved.
Yeah, it's already approved. That's just informational.
It's been approved as a closure,
Mm-mm.
but I think Trustee Michener is asking for something new.
So I'll repeat my motion just to make sure that we're clear. I just want to make sure everything's really clear for the public and also for everyone here. I don't want to cause any misunderstandings. So that's not my intention. So I'll read it again. I do want to note that there was 2 people that actually seconded it, though. Also, I think that's important to note.
I didn't ask for a second, so I think there was a misunderstanding there. I didn't ask for a second. I asked Ann, now do I second it? So that's where I was trying to get clarity. So this is just a little new for us. So
Okay, can you read the motion again? I want to clarify one thing. If you could read your motion again. I didn't write it down, so it'd be helpful if you read it again verbatim, and then I could make my point if there is one after that.
Sure. So what I was asking was I moved that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action. Approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar. I'm asking for that to be put under library matters for board action, which would be number 2. There's already one item there. I've asked for that to be number 2. That's what I'm asking to be added to the agenda. I hope that's clear.
That actually clarifies it. What I think I was confused about, and I just want to clarify, is that you're just adding it. You're just adding or asking for that item to be taken off the supplemental information and added to a board action. Because it's a 2-step process, because we have to add it to the board action. And then the board, when it comes to that agenda, will address the specific substantive issues.
Sure. I'm not.
Yeah,
Maybe I can restate what you said and actually clarify what I mean and make sure everybody gets it. And it sounds like 2 people did already. So what I'm asking is for matters for board action, which would be number 2, because we already have one item there already. So I'm going to read the motion again. I move that the following be added to the agenda under matters for library board action. Approval to amend the document Library Closings 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday as a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday that's on the library board, the library calendar. Novi Public Library's calendar, all the holidays are paid except for this one. So I would like that to be met under matters for board action, which is number 2. That's what I'm asking for today.
but by seconding and approving this motion, the board's just putting it on the agenda, and then at that time you're going to decide whether substantively you want to make the change.
Right. Yeah, it's a matter for board action.
Okay.
Under number 2. So not the first one, but under number 2. That's what I'm asking for, Ann. Thank you.
So my recommendation, because the way you set up your agenda is that I think you just move the, you can accept the motion, second it, and then it puts it on the agenda at that time. And then when you come to the agenda, you would have to make it, by approving the motion right now, you're not approving the change, you're just putting it on at that point. I just want to make sure.
I'm asking for this to be put on the agenda for matters for board action under number 2. That's what I'm asking for. That's what I have been asking for. Please, thank you. That would be my that would be, the question was for approval of the agenda. And I had an addition. So that would be my addition, which would be under matters for board action number 2. That's what I'm asking for, please.
Okay. So she made a motion to amend the agenda to add that, and then the appropriate thing would be to, if someone wants to second that motion, have a discussion and then vote, and then a vote on the agenda after that is a separate motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, that's what I was getting clarity about. Okay, perfect. So thank you for your patience, everyone. All right, and I did have a second for that to be added under, I added to the agenda from Trustee Yu. So I will recognize that. So And then now do we discuss that? So this is where I'm getting confused.
Yeah, there should
What
be
do we discuss about it? So,
discuss whether you want to add that to the agenda or not.
okay. All right, any discussion on that? And since Trustee Michener, you were the one who made the first motion, you get to be the first one to discuss.
Sure, I'd like to add it to matters for board action under number 2, and because I want to state this again, and I have done that a few times already. So I would like to make sure that we put that under matters for board action under number 2 to show that Juneteenth holiday is a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar. That's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, so now we vote to adding June 10th to the calendar as a paid holiday, as Trustee Michener stated, correct?
As an agenda item.
As an agenda, I'm sorry, thank you, as an agenda item. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, that is 3.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
A Zoom suggestion?
Yes, of course, please.
I think it's really difficult, and this might be a little bit more cumbersome. I think it's very difficult to tell who's voting yes. I think for motions while you're doing Zoom, the best thing to do would be to have either a roll call or make everybody say aye. The raising the hands, because I noticed on other meetings where people are voting no, they never actually voice that. So I think you should say all in favor, and then everybody, and then do a roll call vote, or roll call vote, on the motion, and people can say yes or no, and that way there's no confusion.
Okay. I know, Trustee Michener, you mentioned that a couple months ago, so I'm glad that came back up. Trustee Yu, are you comfortable with doing that?
Sure. Trustee
Okay.
Augusta. Oh, sorry. Trustee Augusta.
No.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Messernack.
No.
Trustee Michener.
Yes.
Trustee Wood.
Apologize. Yes.
Trustee Yu, yes.
I did not get the count of that, so I apologize, Trustee Yu. Sorry, Barbara Cook?
Five yes votes.
Thank you. Okay, so that was passing, so that it will be included on the agenda under matters for board action number 2. Excellent. All right, and then the second agenda was and I do not have it written verbatim, so I do apologize, Trustee Michener, I couldn't write that fast. So this is to add the Juneteenth as a paid holiday to the calendar. So bear with me just one moment so I could get clarification. Thank you, appreciate it. Anne, is this where I ask for a motion to approve prior to doing discussion, correct?
Yeah, there has to be a motion on the floor, and then it's seconded, and then there's discussion, and then vote on the motion. So yeah, someone has to make a motion with respect to the item.
Perfect. I just want to make sure we're clarity. Okay, so I would like to request a motion to approve adding Trustee Michener?
Do I get to make the motion? I'm sorry, because
I'm requesting the motion. So would you like to make it and state it?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. That will be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Augusta, President Augusta. And the reason why I asked is because you mentioned that you didn't have it all down and written, and that's totally understandable. So I figured if I read it the way I wrote it, it would be right, if that makes sense. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. What I would like is approval to amend the document Library Changes 2021 on page 91 to show the Juneteenth holiday is a paid holiday, just like July 4th, Independence Day, and every other holiday on the library calendar. So that's what I would like the motion to be.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, trustee, okay. For discussion, trustee Michener, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I
This
just
is discussion time.
sure. Do I have the floor?
You do, yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we can keep Juneteenth as a holiday, as we stated in several other meetings. We did say that it would be treated just like July 4th. That's actually noted. It was discussed originally. Let's see here. I have notes. Maybe I should talk about it for reference for everyone. So we specifically talked about it on June 25th at our virtual meeting here on Zoom. And then we, it was asked for clarification, it was brought back, and then we discussed it again on August 27th. On June 25th, it was unanimous, and clarification was provided that it is a holiday specifically. I will share with you that in the board packets, and you can reference these, it was always put as a holiday up until December. It shifted and changed. He added, and it was no longer put in the same way as July 4th, but up until December, it was put in the same way that July 4th was. So I just want to make sure that every other holiday is included. Every other holiday that we say is a holiday, which Juneteenth is an example of one of those, is paid. So I'd like it to get the same consideration, because we did say that we wanted to look at the discussion about being like MLK Day. It's not like MLK Day. It is Independence Day. So it would be, I think, an equity issue to make it lower.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, do I have any addition? Julie?
I do believe it was a typo. Trustee Michener is correct. It is noted on other information that I have with me and in front of me that it is a holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any additional discussion? Trustee Wood?
If that's the case, is there a motion to be made then?
The motion is to have it as a paid holiday. So I guess we need.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe I'll reference back to Julie. Is it a paid holiday, or is it just a holiday with time off?
I understood when it was being approved in the summer that it was a paid holiday.
So it's just a typo?
I think so.
Yes, Trustee Wood, thank you.
So back again, is there a motion, is there something even to vote on at this moment in time?
There is not, except for we're asked Julie to make it a red H so that it is going to be noted as a paid holiday in our next packet. Trustee Wood?
How do we address a motion that's been made? This is an area where I'm a little confused. I mean, can we not vote on it, or?
Oh, wait.
Because we have a motion, it's been seconded, but it doesn't seem like the motion's necessary. So I'd like to ask Ann for her, how do we get out of this?
Well, you're asking me to dig deep into Robert's rules, which is asking a lot. So Robert's rules is really for when people have a disagreement, and then you turn to Robert's rules to resolve a disagreement. My thought would be, unless the president has Robert's rules and she's going to tell me something different, would be to have Trustee Michener withdraw the motion as unnecessary.
That would be fine. The only thing I read was that we could vote to postpone indefinitely. But I would be very happy if Trustee Michener wanted to withdraw the motion.
I'd like to get clarification if I can, Madam President.
Yes, please.
So I'm okay with withdrawing it as long as we're all clear that it's a paid holiday. That's
Yes.
my okay. Thank you so much.
Julie has verified that it was a typo and that it will be listed as a paid holiday in the future.
I appreciate that. I just want a clarification to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So yes, if that's the case, then I withdraw the motion. It sounds like it's not needed. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Okay. I like this.
Next up is matters for library board action. The first item on the agenda is to consider amendment to the holidays policy, which is the HR policy regarding Juneteenth based on a memo from Director Farkas. And before I turn it over to the board for motion and discussion, I wanted to ask if Director Farkas had anything to add with regards to that item.
Thank you, Trustee Dooley. I would just like to take a moment to apologize to Trustee Michener and the board, because last month there was miscommunication on my end in terms of giving some information to you when we were talking about the Juneteenth date and how it was understood. I understood it as a closure, and then as I was looking at information that was quickly by me, I misspoke to you in terms of giving you some information. So I do want to apologize for that. I've given you some explanation as to some of the documents that once the meeting was over, I referred back to, went back to an email and communications that were used. And that's why I brought back tonight the information with the holidays policy for you to have further discussion on for the Juneteenth. So again, I apologize for that information. I should have asked for some time to review some information prior to speaking.
Yes, Trustee Michener, go ahead. Oh, you're on mute. I'm sorry. You're on mute. Yeah, go ahead.
It's funny because you hear your own voice, so you're like, everybody else hears it too, right? Thank you so much. I do appreciate the apology. I think, you know, it's for me, but I think it's also for the community that wants this date to be a paid holiday. You know, when we brought this forth in the beginning in June, it was a commitment to the Black community with the understanding that Black people were not free on the 4th of July. And this was a unanimous vote to make it just like the 4th of July. There was clarification that was reached later to make sure that it wasn't a staff development day or in-service day or anything of that nature. It really is just like 4th of July, because there was questions that first day on June 25th, if this is similar to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And at that time I said no, because, you know, on 4th of July, we have barbecues and things of that nature. We don't sit and have education, although education is awesome. I gave clarification at that time, but it did come back. You know, could we look at certain days for this and certain days for that? And at that point, we were very clear, no, this is just like 4th of July. When I brought things back last month, I was really clear because I realized that if it wasn't put to a vote as soon as possible to make sure that it truly was considered just like 4th of July, that we run the risk of it, of the motive changing or the purpose changing. And I think that that's very detrimental to the trust of the Black community and those who support the Black community, and also just support diversity and history as well. It's not just, even though it's celebrating something that happened to Black people, we can celebrate everybody in that way, right? So I felt like it was important to bring that in the proper way to the board. At that time, it looked like it was going in the direction that it would be something that was approved. I didn't want to just go from my memory because, you know, we do have a lot of things in our head, and I know I do. I've got a 7-year-old virtually schooling, so I'm not going to try to remember everything. So what I did was I went back to the transcript to make sure I was clear and as thorough as possible. So I'm going to read that. And I have people's names noted. So it says Julie. So imagine a colon there. I do believe it was a typo, Trustee Michener is correct. It is noted on other information I have with me and in front of me that it is a holiday. Trustee Wood, colon. If that is the case, is there a motion to be made then? President Augusta, colon. The motion is to have it as a paid holiday. Jeff interrupts. Maybe I'll reference back to Julie. Is it a paid holiday or is it just a holiday with time off? Julie, I understood when it was being approved in the summer that it was a paid holiday. President Augusta, colon. So it's just a typo. Julie, colon. I think so. Trustee Wood, colon. So back again, is there a motion? Is there something even to vote on at this moment in time? President Augusta, colon. There is not, except for Julie to make it a red H. So it is going to be noted as a paid holiday in our next packet. There was more discussion over the need for a motion. I asked both the attorney that was here at the time, which was Ann from Foster Swift at that time, not you, Tom, but it was Ann from Foster Swift. I said, okay, and I'll read what I said. I'd like to get clarification, if I may, Madam President, which at the time was President Augusta. She said, yes, please. And I said, I'm okay with withdrawing it as long as we're all clear it is a paid holiday. President Augusta said yes. Everybody nodded. This would not come back. I said, okay, thank you very much. President Augusta, Julie has said that it is a typo, will be listed as a paid holiday in the future. When you have something that clear, I don't know if there's really a mistake, that can be noted. Like, that's super clear, especially the words actually said, I understood it to be a paid holiday in the summer. So I have to say that I'm really hoping that we take the optics of this really seriously. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. I think that this coming back a third time was dismaying for me, especially thinking that this is something that we covered already. So when it comes to matters for board action, I think it's extremely important that we think about DEI work. That's one of our focuses this year, right? Like, I'm the chair of that committee. We're really, we should be passionate about it, with our motto being inform, inspire, include. It looks like our Black community has had to restate things several times in order to be heard, and then it's brought back again and again and again. It doesn't feel good. So my thoughts is definitely, if we are going to put that to a vote, I would hope that I can implore us to vote as a paid holiday, like every other holiday that is actually on the calendar that is paid. Every other holiday is paid except for this one. That's stated as a holiday. So I'd like that to definitely be considered. It sounds like it needs to go to a vote to make sure it's ironclad, but I do think that's really important. I was dismayed to see this in the packet. I'll tell you, I was just dismayed.
Thank you, Trustee Michener.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So typically, how we've done our board meetings before is we bring a motion forth, if it's seconded or not, and then we have discussion. But Trustee Michener, you started off the discussion. I'd like to keep that going before a formal motion's made, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
All right. So who wants to go next as far as my trustees on the board? Does anyone want to raise their hand? Trustee Crawford, go ahead.
Okay. The way I'm understanding this, if it's just for discussion now, had I been here at the last meeting and heard everything, I'm really concerned about all the, I'm new to the budget, so I'm new to the whole packet thing, and budget's not always my strong suit. But when I looked at page 23 of the budget, I was very concerned about all the lost revenue on page 23, which amounted to over approximately $90,000, upwards of $90,000. So in addition, the costs that we've had to incur that have to do with COVID, the additional PPE, and that's ongoing, and also the things in the library that have had to change, the shields and things like that, things that were not covered in grant money. And this is going to continue, and will definitely continue probably indefinitely here for the maybe the next 6 months, or maybe even longer. We just don't know. So I can't justify adding an additional expense to the library when we don't even know what all of our losses are going to be. So it is an expense to add in paid holiday. I have no argument, and I have nothing to say about the value of the holiday. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about expenses right now. And it's just something that I can't really justify adding any kind of expense to the budget. So that's my comments.
Thank you, Trustee Crawford. Trustee Shirakuri.
Thank you. My concerns are sort of twofold. Had I been there last week, I might have said, well, let me start. One thing that really outraged me this year was when Black History Month came, and Amazon Prime decided the best way to feature Black movies was to promote Coming to America 2, which they had underwritten, produced, and distributed. I always fear our holidays becoming, I hate to say it, not to impugn the company, but another chance for ABC Warehouse to have a sale. In this case, by closing down the library on Juneteenth, I mean, honestly, the schools are already closed, or at least the kids' minds are largely shut off there for summer. By closing the library too, my personal preference would have been, that's a great day to really feature what this thing means, the importance of the Emancipation Proclamation and our other seminal documents to our country. But now a student will grow up in Novi, and neither at the schools nor here would you actually ever see on Juneteenth anything about Juneteenth. That's just my personal opinion. Again, it's, as Trustee Crawford said, it's not to the lack of importance of the day or what it means, but there are other considerations. And so one of those is I was looking at what our current offerings are for our employees. And, we have, in addition to 10 paid holidays, one of which is floating, 6 personal leave days, 12 sick days, and 10 to 25 days of vacation. And I think what you'll find is that vastly exceeds the offerings in the private sector and industry pretty much all across the state. In this year, and believe me, I appreciate all the hard work all the employees at the library have done, but this is a year where, if we're honest, in government, we've suffered a little less economically than the people in the private sector have. And so, it just doesn't look good this year, or to be adding benefits at a time when everyone else is trying to get by. And I believe as we have floating holidays, that does, and personal leave days, for the individual who wants to celebrate, it does give them the capacity to celebrate, whether it be Veterans Day, President's Day, the Constitution Day, Juneteenth, Gandhi Jayanti, other big holidays of personal importance or of importance. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Shirakuri. Anyone else? Trustee Bartlett.
Yes, I similar to the previous speaker, I looked at the holiday list. Currently, our employees get 10 paid holidays. As a new trustee, I'd like to see how that compares with other folks in the city and everywhere else. My last job, I worked for a fairly small company whose benefits were managed by ADP. They told us 10 was the standard in the US. And again, if we're looking to fund this and we want to make a motion that says we replace the floating holiday with Juneteenth, I have no problem. That makes the whole thing revenue neutral, where it is, if it's not revenue neutral, as the previous speaker indicated, this year we're down with revenue, all that sort of thing. The other thing, looking at the holiday list as a new person, I was a little bit shocked that 2 of the holidays that are normally somewhere in the private sector are not on our list. And those 2 are President's Day and Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King Day, I was told that the library thought that it was better because students are off, to promote Martin Luther King on that day than to close the library. But again, 10 holidays is a pretty standard package. I'd really like to see how that compares to other folks in the city before we say, okay, we're going to boost benefits. What do our firefighters see and so forth? Because, even though we are a separate entity, they are, city employees are kind of one group. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Yu or Trustee Wood, would you like to go next?
I'll wait till after the motion.
Okay.
In terms of comment wise, I don't have any additional comments.
Okay, thank you. So right now we've had some discussion, and what I'd like to ask for is a motion, and the motion that's on the table, just to clarify for everybody, is whether or not Juneteenth is a paid or non-paid holiday. It is a holiday. The question on the table is whether it be paid or non-paid, and I want to make sure everybody's clear on that. So with that, does somebody want to make a motion? Trustee Michener, please.
Thank you. And thank you for clarifying that it's already a holiday. That sounds like there was some confusion there. I would like to make a motion for Juneteenth to be approved as a paid holiday, just like 4th of July.
Thank you, Trustee Michener. Do I have a second?
I can second that.
Thank you, Trustee Yu. Is there any further discussion? Trustee Wood.
Yeah, I'll take my time now that we have a motion to discuss my viewpoint on this. I do think, number one, there's a lot of value in this day off. I've been very vocal and voted to have the day off. I'm also strongly behind the DEI initiatives. I feel, though, it's prudent for us, because there is a cost to make this a paid holiday, that we should really focus what we would, instead of having this as an internal paid holiday, to use those funds for the community for DEI efforts. I think that's more important. I think that's really what our focus should be on. It should be supporting the community and bringing everyone together. And I think that those funds would be better suited for that than making it a paid holiday.
Thank you, Trustee Wood. So I'll go next or last, unless Trustee Yu, do you still not have any comments? You're good. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for giving your feedback and your comments. I was doing a lot of research when it came to Juneteenth, because I think, like a lot of people in the community and beyond, they didn't understand the validity or the importance of the holiday. And I know that that's not being called into question today, because that day is taken off, and we made that happen last summer with Trustee Michener championing that. I'm a firm believer that the times are changing. There are a lot of companies that are developing this as a paid holiday and putting this on their package. There's also been a lot of support. It's almost 17 years now. I don't know if people are aware that Juneteenth has been recognized by the state of Michigan. It's not a formal holiday, but it has been recognized in terms of the importance of the celebration. And because the spirit of the holiday is independence and emancipation, it's supposed to be treated like July 4th. And with that, I still support the idea of it being a paid holiday like July 4th. That's why I'm in support of that. But I do appreciate everybody's feedback, because all of it was important. So if there's no other further discussion, I'd like to call us on a roll call vote, please. Trustee Yu.
Absolutely. Trustee Bartlett.
No.
Trustee Chirikuri.
No.
Trustee Crawford.
No.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Michener.
Yes.
Trustee Wood.
No.
Trustee Yu, yes.
Okay, motion doesn't carry. Thank you, everybody.
I'm kidding myself as I'm standing here in the pouring rain, and I won't be the same. I'm kidding myself as I'm standing here in the pouring rain.